Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. So today's mission is to recondition, strip down and recondition a second-hand EGR valve. These things are a couple of £100 to buy new, so always good to recondition one if you can. Now this one I'm reliably informed by the lovely people at eBay that it does in fact work, that it was taken off the vehicle in working condition, and that it would be good to just stick straight on my vehicle. However, having had a look inside, determined that that might not be the best possible course of action. So what I'm going to do instead is take it to bits, clean it out inside using a real heady mixture of chemicals, some very, very unpleasant stuff. We've got some EGR and carb cleaner and good old-fashioned Mr. Muscle oven cleaner. You'll give this a good old soak, strip down and then rebuild it, so we get all of that sludge and slurry out, and then switch this out for the one that's in the car. So to begin with, strip down. We are going to need, I think, just a T40 torx bit, which I just happen to have in. Now you could do this with hand tools, but being completely honest, it's a lot easier if you do have an impact driver. Certainly I would strongly suggest that if you are getting serious about home maintenance, you invest in one piece of kit. It's an absolute game changer, and that is a cordless impact driver. They're really not that expensive, but make all the difference. So I'm using a long extension bar on this, using my torx bit on the end, and we have 4 around the solenoid. Just to give you a guided tour of this, by the way, that is the EGR valve, this piece here at this end. This bit is a cooler, so what happens is the exhaust gas comes in here, goes into this chamber here, and depending on whether or not the engine management system determines that the catalytic converter is running too hot, it squirts some of the used exhaust gas back through this cooler and back into the air intake. So this, the reason that they get so full of carbon is because it's running exhaust straight through it all the time, and with diesels the exhaust can be pretty smoky. Just looking at this, these ones are nice and clean, so I can just drive the tool straight into those. These ones are completely full of slurry, not really a massive surprise there, because they're the ones on the underside of the back of the engine, so I guess the previous owner of this vehicle drove it with the splash plate off the bottom for a while. So I'm just going to get a picker tool out. I'll just carve out some of the grime. Tell you what I'm going to do here. Let's use an old tray. Catch all the sludge and slurry then. I can just throw it around. So, pick out the worst of the grot. Give the tool best chance it has of biting into that. I'm also going to use some penetrating oil here. Wouldn't be a bad idea, in fact, as this thing is very, very used to being absolutely piping hot as the exhaust gas comes through it constantly. I am going to give it a little bit of a heat as well, so a bit of fire, a bit of oil, and then we'll try and crack those bolts out. That's lovely. I'll put a bit more oil on that in a second just to help it out. Another one. There. So yeah, this is the difference that it makes, having a half decent impact driver about. So that's those three sorted. The other side. This last one's offering a little bit of resistance. So just remember what order these came off in and keep the gasket safe. Okay, so that's the solenoid. Little O-ring on there, keep that safe. And that is the bit that gets stuck. That's the bit that seizes up, so that's running quite nicely. Just for good measure, give that a good soak and let that drip. So next then, this piece here, the other side of that is the chamber in which most of the carbon is going to be built up. Before I can do that, I need to loosen this off. We need some more flame. The unit disassembled now. That lovely layer of soot and sludge in there I'm going to clean out with carb cleaner. This here is, you can see how that's completely choked up on one side. That is supposed to be free, so we'll give this all a good clean, completely remove all of these carbon deposits using a heady mixture of EGR and carb cleaner, in the first instance a picking tool as well, to get all of that out of there, and then to give it a nice polish at the end, some oven cleaner. Now I'm going to keep this safe. Very important that you keep the gaskets in one piece. They will reseat perfectly happily. Again, looking at the end here, you can see how much carbon there is inside that, even though this has been sold as a functional piece of kit, so we'll be cleaning that through again with the EGR and carb cleaner. That's just the cooler though, so coolant goes in here, comes out here. So, there you go, so that's the strip down. I'll get on and clean those up now and leave it to soak overnight before coming back to it tomorrow. Here you go guys, this is where it all goes wrong. So this is the inside of the, that's the chamber. Goes off down to the cooler at the other end. I've just taken this off the end. We're going to have some fun with this later on because I'm going to have to extract a sheared bolt there, which is nice. But this is supposed to be completely clear, and as you can see from these obvious chunks of carbon, it is absolutely not clear. Now it's ever so easy to clean this out. It's nice loose carbon, just soot basically. So what I'm going to do is just get the worst of it out and then blast it through with some EGR and carb cleaner. So all that soot was the reason why the EGR valve wasn't working. It is as simple as that. There we go, nearly as good as new. Let's give it a quick polish and reassemble this unit. Oh, once I've extracted that busted bolt, we'll get to that in a minute. Just going to open the door. But this carb cleaner is foul stuff. Okay, so now the fumes have cleared, we have removed a significant amount of gunk and slime from the original vehicle that this second-hand EGR valve was fitted to, and we can see here the business end of an EGR valve. So this is the solenoid. This is the bit that sticks when it all gets gunked up and prevents the thing from working. That seems to be functioning quite well. I could put a 12-volt supply on it and test that out. I'm not going to bother. To be completely honest, it was sold as working, so I'm going to have confidence in it. I bought it from a supplier I've bought second-hand components from before, and they've always been excellent. So this is the other part. Now this is where it all goes wrong when the solenoid gets sticky. This bit here pushes and pulls. On this unit that was half blocked up already, and it was only a couple of thousand miles away, I suspect, from being sticky itself. So what happens is the exhaust gas comes in here, out through here at appropriate moments when that is open or closed, into this chamber. From this chamber it goes up the cooler through a cooled section, coolant coming in through the normal coolant section, in through here and out through here, so this is like a refrigerator, and then feeds back into the air intake that attaches onto the front end. So effectively we have a solenoid, a cooler, and a little valve that opens and closes at the whim of the engine control management system. So the keen-eyed amongst you will probably have noticed with that judicious piece of editing that in fact I am now playing once again with a dirty unit. The battery died before. Just to finish this video off, reassembly is the opposite of assembly. Now I'm going to take this one to pieces, clean it out. This is the one I've just taken all of that carbon out of. But just to show you the gaskets as they go back on, you can't put it on the wrong way because it's designed in such a way that if it's on backwards, the lines, the bolts don't line up. Okay, so you're quite safe. Pop it on. And then we have a bit of fun with the broken bolt. I'm just about to do that in another video here. So please ignore the fighting cats outside. Here we have the cooler unit. That is going to fit on like so, nice and easy. There are two big bolts that hold these two pieces together, so at this point we might as well locate those. Okay, so that will hold that nice and firm. I'll drive those together in a moment. The gasket that goes around the solenoid part slides on, and it's important not to lose this little O-ring, which is why there's a slot in there. Slides on, and you'll see the witness marks here to indicate that that's the direction of travel, but just remember when you're taking it apart to keep a close eye on where those bits come from. this little spigot here has to go into the hole, and then that all just bolts together with the two small bolts at the top, one of which is busted on here, and then another two standard 8mm bolts through the middle. There you go. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by making you sit there and watch me do up 6 bolts, but that is how you reassemble the unit. And in the next video I'll show you how to get the old one out of the car and refit. My advice, if you can, is pick one of these up, clean it up and have it on the shelf, because inevitably in an older D5 engine this is going to clog up with soot. I will see you in the next video. If that's been useful to you, please like and subscribe, don't forget to click the bell, and leave any comments down below. Take it easy guys, I'll see you next time.